And here we are again, you beautiful people who want a little bit of inspiration and a little bit of activities or lining up with the good in your life today. Exercises, things to play with. I mean, we've got so many good things to talk about and ways we can inspire each other to make sure that every day is moving in the direction of happiness and greatness and togetherness and tranquility. You know, I just had a very cool conversation with some people, some good friends of mine, and the topic was compassion. And they were just wanting to share their points of view on that and what compassion means to them. And what I love about us talking was the realness that came out of that. Like, what actually is it like to be compassionate? Rather than a concept of compassion, how about how in our daily lives and what a real experiences that are happening for us and to us and around us, for us to recognize what compassion is like to live. Because it's one thing to say, oh, this is compassion, you know, it's when you listen to somebody, or when you let go of your ideas to actually understand somebody else. You know, it sounds great, doesn't it? But and it's true, but let's put it into a livable experience, or what are we actually challenged with for us to overcome and then realize in hindsight that's what compassion really is. What are we discovering on our journey of life? And what are we capable of doing, or it appears incapable of doing in the moment? And then in hindsight, we recognize what is compassion because of that. And I love that more than just spouting beautiful words to you, is to actually give you living examples so that you can put it against yourself, your own life, and see how that works for you. And so for me, it's like the growth in myself and my growth in my journey called life is every day. The universe is showing me opportunities to grow in a million different ways that then I might put under one label and say, well, that's how I live to be a little bit more compassionate today. But it could have been put under a million labels, because we're learning and growing in all the directions in this infinite universe of ours. And discovering so many facets of who we are and how we can be greater and what we can be letting go of and what we can be growing into, stepping into. It just doesn't end. And I love that, because it shouldn't end. I don't get to the top of the mountain and go, I did it, with how my life is evolving. Consciousness is always evolving, so we are always seeing ourselves differently or learning. And it could come to us from our own actions, or it could come to us from our thought patterns, our realizations, or from conversations from other people. So sitting around today, there was this beautiful conversation about just moving forward with projects. And it's very easy to have opinions, and it's very easy then to think that this opinion's right and this opinion's not good, or there's wrongness in various opinions. You know, what's right or wrong is very common and very quick for us to jump into and wave a flag and hold positions, right? And yet to actually be invited to even listen more, or to see someone taking the opportunity to listen to us. And in my case, it was, you know, I tend to have a lot of opinions, good news, bad news, who knows, and sometimes a lot of ideas, and some of them can be implemented and some of them are just like out there. You know, I'm no different than a lot of people. What struck me, though, is in this conversation with many people, it's very easy for other people who are perhaps more grounded or have more talents than I to see some of my ideas as just impractical. You know, it's like, no, no, we're not doing that. But sometimes that no can come before the ideas even been presented fully. And that's what was presented to me today. Was someone said, no, Jaya, that's not a good idea. And then someone else said, well, hang on a minute, let's just listen. And in that moment, it was like this invitation to explain. I wasn't feeling like I then had to sell the idea in this moment to convince everybody. But what I took on board was an opportunity. Somebody just said, instead of no, hang on, share with us. And it struck me as such a beautiful moment to me, a beautiful invitation for me to give myself, a beautiful gift for someone to just listen, that if I received it in its fullness with such beauty, like I was so grateful that someone said that to me, then I can learn from that and be more open and listening and inviting to others. Because if I noticed it and went, phew, someone's going to give me the opportunity to share, well, then obviously I can give that to more people in my life too, instead of quickly coming to a conclusion, which sometimes will be like, oh, you're wasting my time, or no, that's not going to work, or I don't agree, you know, like whatever comes up very quickly for people to just go, no. But instead it's like, well, actually, let me listen to you. Let you finish what you were saying. And I do have the time for that. And I do love your flavor. And I do want to know who you are. And if I can give you that part of me because you're in my presence and I'm in your presence, then maybe even if the idea doesn't fly, maybe the gift is just to be in each other's company. And because for some reason the universe has put us together in this moment. And so I can slow down and listen to you because somebody stopped and wanted to listen to me. And I think that's really beautiful. And I think that's really important for us to see that, to recognize that as a very compassionate way of interacting with each other, and a very important way to actually hear each other, be present to each other, and recognize the beauty of each other and the gifts that are in our unique personalities for each other. We're not supposed to be the same. We don't see the same views. We don't operate the same manner. We don't have the same time factor running in our psyche. We're not supposed to see our world the same. We're supposed to be different. We're bringing our own unique gifts to each other. And for some reason, you've created me and I've created you, and the gifts are there for each other to learn and to grow and to recognize the amazing tapestry of life that's been created because of all these unique and beautiful flavors coming together. And some of what's on offer invites us to grow in so many different ways, and sometimes it invites us to see a different path or a different view because we don't agree, and it's all okay, everybody. It's important, it's valuable, it's what the universe is giving us to become greater beings, more compassionate, more loving, more allowing, more in patience with each other, more in patience, not impatient. More able to slow down and listen and smile at each other, because you're important and I'm important, and our views are supposed to be spoken about even if they never come to fruition. So thank you for listening again, and I hope this inspires you to play actively with what you're seeing in your world, because it's so important that we keep growing and keep learning and keep evolving and keep doing this together. So my little talk on compassion, hopefully it sparkles something inside of you. I love you very much. And yeah, play and share in the spaces below in these videos, the comments, so I can see where you're at with all of this and how we can do this together. I love you. Bye-bye.